Hello guys and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to beat the Light Beast. My overall goal for this video is to get you guys at least scoring an S or higher on the Light Beast. And if you don't have the monsters you need to actually beat it, you guys will at least understand how it works. So when you do need to, make a team to beat it, you can put together your own team. Because you can use more than one type of monster to beat the Light Beast. And as long as you're beating it with the triple S or whatever, like you see on my team, then that's all that matters, right? At least you guys are getting grinds and you're getting all the things you need. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the strategy info as always, because I'm not the type of person to just sit here and throw teams at you. I want you guys to understand why we're putting the units we're putting and why we're placing them where we're placing them, all that stuff and whatever, right? So let's go to the strategy info and we'll move on from there. Okay, so here we are in the strategy info, and this is a lot of information. I'm not going to read every single little bit, but I will point out some details, which is going to be really important for making your team. I will show off runes in this video. I think some of them are okay, some of them are not so good, but they work, clearly. So, first skill that I want to talk about, and we talk about it in almost every Rift Beast video, which I always like to go over these Rift Beast videos that I make and do them over again just to make sure they're updated, but we'll get to that point when that point comes. But I make this point in every video. Thorn of Despair. It targets the allies in the front line first, and the inflicted damage greatly increases as the allies have lower defense. So you can minimize the damage by placing monsters with high defense in the front line according to the attribute relations of each dungeon. Essentially, it means put units in the front that have high defense. And you can actually use this to your advantage, because if you need damage dealers, you could put damage dealers that do damage based off of defense in the front. You don't just have to put supports. But at the end of the day, you want units that have tons of defense. So when you've been farming Kairos, you've been farming Giants, and you've been getting those defense percent runes, put that to work. Put those runes to use, because they are useful. But the Light Beast's main skill, which is Light Distortion, creates a distorted shield that substantially decreases the inflicted damage amount when receiving multiple hits. So essentially, the shield takes damage based off of the number of hits, meaning the more hits you deal, the less damage that it's actually going to take. You need to bring nukers. So the less hits you deal to the boss, the more damage you're going to actually inflict on him. So use nukers, not multi-hitters like Lapis. If I had to name a multi-hitter, Lapis is a massive multi-hitter. It's just like, don't use units like that. Cannon girls, whatever. I don't see why you would use them anyways. But you want to bring nukers like a Crow, for example, or maybe like Naomi if you wanted to count her. I wouldn't, because she's based off of like debuffs and all that, and without her debuffs, she's not really that hard of a hitter. I mean, she's good. Point being, hard hitters, nukers, whatever. But the rest of the skill states this. It shares the damage with the Light Beast, and the beast attacks will become stronger according to the remaining HP of the distorted shield. So of course, the more of the shield that there is, the more damage that your monsters are going to take from the monster, or from the beast. So you really just want to wipe the shield out as quick as possible, obviously. So you can destroy the distorted shield by using monsters that inflict great damage with the less amount of hits. So again, nukers. Scrolling down, we're reading Light Distortion again, but it doesn't. I'm not going to reread the whole entire thing. I will reread part of it. The HP of the shield will increase every time the Light Distortion is used. So you really want to make sure that you're not just putting tons of supports there. You really want to bring as many nukers as possible, because the longer the boss lives or is not in his groggy state, the more he's using his skills, the harder it's going to be to actually finish the boss. Your early game here is going to be just as important as your late game. The more you allow this boss to use Light Distortion, the worse it's going to be later on. So you need to hit as hard from step 1 or from second 1 to the very last second. You need to be hitting hard constantly. But with that out of the way, let's go on to team building. Okay, so here we are in the team placement screen. We don't have anyone here yet because I want to go over a couple things again. First things first, do not place nukers in the front. Reason being, again, the units you want in the front are your supporters that, have tons of defense. Units would include something like Colleen, where she supports our team with attack buffs and heals, but also has a massive amount of defense. This isn't massive. 981 though is pretty good, but she's gonna have high defense, so she could actually take hits, and she can support our team. Now, the units you have in the front don't exactly have to be straight up support units. So, like, if you start off and you have Shannon is a support unit. She's gonna be buffing your team, and that's all she's gonna really do. But she's gonna be able to take a couple hits and take some abuse, I guess is what you're gonna call it, and then help your team do more damage. But you can also consider this: green units that have high defense that do damage based off of high defense. A unit that comes to mind is Ramahan. So this is Ramahan right here, and I know this sounds stupid, but on my 3-star count, where I only use 3 stars, no light darks, I use Ramahan as my front line in a lot of these fights, because Ramahan can take good damage in these Rift Beasts, and he could deal a lot of it back. So he's just like an extra damage dealer there, and he helps with the light beast on my 3-star account. So while it's not exactly the best choice, I mean, it's good damage, right? So you don't have to only have a support unit. You can have a defensive unit that deals damage based off of defense. And if you need to find units like that, you could, where is it? Damage percent to defense. And you'll find them here. So, you got Bulldozer, but he deals multi-hits. But, I guess Veligul is kind of like one of those units. But, go through here. Copper works. He kind of works. But you get my point. It doesn't just have to be supports. But for me, this is the 2 units I use. I use Bella Dion. Bella Dion can take a couple hits and she heals the team. I mean, it's a backup heal. I know people are going to be like, hey, use Irogar. Irogar lets you heal based off the damage you deal. But sometimes that's just not enough. Sometimes you want to just have a backup heal just in case. And hey, as long as you're S-ing it, who cares? The other unit I use is Miriam. Miriam, I like her a lot. I prefer her over Shannon in these beasts because of this right here. Beneficial Hammering. Increases attack power and defense of all allies for 2 turns. If she does get a great on this skill, it increases from 2 turns to 3 turns. And then you also get a shield based off of her level. But the special thing about her is her passive, where she increases the effects of these buffs, which is the attack buff, defense buff, and attack speed buff by 35%. So you're just overall getting more. So, that's more damage for me. That's me living longer because of her. I mean, perfect, right? And I'll show off her runes real quick. So there you go. Not exactly the best runes. I could definitely grind, or not grind, but gem some of these. But we're going to just leave it as is. I mean, if she works, she works. So, there you go. And then, I'll show you Bella Dion's. So she has some fight runes, actually. Which is very helpful, because now we're getting more damage out. So, there we go. So again, you could use whatever supports you want. Theoretically, you could take Bella Dion out and put like a unit like Ramahan, like I mentioned. And if you feel like you could deal enough damage and you could survive long enough, you might not need, a consistent heal. But now, starting with our nukes, a unit that you all may have is actually Crow. Crow may be a unit everyone should have. I mean, you get him literally for free. But he's a very good unit. But you're also gonna want a unit like Irogar. I made a video on Irogar the other day. But Irogar is going to be super useful. I mean, you're going to get an attack lead from him, 38%. He puts an attack buff on all your allies. I know we get that from Miriam, but there's no harm in it. Plus, he gives a blood contract, so it actually does allow us to deal, or to heal, based off the damage we deal. So that's pretty useful. Units that you can also use are ones like Harazveilg. Or Harazveilg will deal a good amount of damage thanks to his barbaric state, but he also increases attack speed, which I find to be pretty useful. You can build him on support, which I didn't build him off support. I think I built him on attack. Yeah, he's not exactly the best, but he works. But let's see. You could also use like the homunculus. You could build like a nuker, like homunculus kind of. This one is not a nuker, but you could do something like that. But we can actually go to the monster collection, and I could show you guys a couple units. So one unit to definitely consider is Fami. I mean, you can get her in the ancient coin shop. I actually have her. I haven't ruined her yet. I need to farm more runes. But she deals pretty good damage. I believe all of her skills are single target. Yeah, or single hits. So she could deal pretty big damage, and she also has a crit damage lead if you want to use that one. But there are a couple others. You could also use units like Lyn. I know that the one of the passives on the boss is it reduces damage that's proportionate to enemies' max HP, but it doesn't mean that it's completely nullified. This is still a pretty good unit, and if you could build her straight up attack, crit damage, attack, even though I know a lot of people are using her on attack, crit damage, HP because of Abyss. But you go attack, crit damage, attack, you can use her. Just literally any unit that deals damage, like huge damage on a single hit. So with that being said, I'm gonna go and show you guys my team. So here we go. This is my team. Again, you could probably use your 5 stars like Teor or even Perna. I know my Perna is not that good. I mean, she could use more crit rate, definitely more crit damage, but she works. She works. So, and she has a better attack lead. But we're gonna go with this. I mean, these are all completely obtainable units. I mean, most of these are 4 stars that I'm sure you guys have some of in your box. I've given you guys a couple options, but without any further ado, let's hop into the fight. Okay, so the battle's beginning. Now, preferably, you're going to want your Ironguard to be the fastest, but obviously, my runes are terrible. when I get like a speedy damage dealer, you know, a damage dealer that deals damage based off of speed, I go over the top with speed, which is my problem. But as you can see, they took down the shield before the boss got even like his first attack in, which is good. You want to really destroy this boss before he gets to his second light distortion, which shouldn't be that hard, but you never know. Harazvel and Crow are really good here, especially in the groggy state, because you're going to be able to get tons of damage in during the groggy state. I mean, Harazvel with the branding, the attack speed increase, and then you have Crow in the back just dealing massive damage. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to invest into a lot of light dark nukers. You could also use units like I imagine like units like Kali, her 2A especially, where it's just like she's gonna have tons of attack power, and she has that ignore defense second skill. So that could, or what was it, tectonic shift or something like that. It's a really good skill. You could use her here. Again, just literally use nukers. But yeah, Miriam is actually low-key the MVP though, because her passive and her shields and her attack buff are just way too OP here. So you see, when you start off, this beast may seem super difficult, but in reality, it's actually quite easy once you start to actually read the strategy info. If you just jump in with a random team, you're going to lose, because you're not going to realize that Lapis sucks here. I know your Lapis can solo Fame in Hell, or this unit can do this or that, but it's just like, when you follow the guidelines, when you follow the strategy info, you actually come to realize how useful, you know, certain units are. I want to see, by the way, if we can get away with twins. I don't believe you can, especially since there's multiple hits and they do damage based off of enemy's HP, but I want to see if they could get away with it, because I'm sure there's some people who would like to just use twins everywhere. So we'll do a run. I don't believe it's going to work. I think starting off, they might lack tons of damage. But who knows? I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, they when the boss's shields are down, then that's a different story. But okay, it's kind of working. But I'm a little terrified, as you might say, about the how the shields are going to go down in the third phase, or the second phase, whatever you want to call it. I say third phase because the groggy phase is the second phase to me. 4 million damage so far. So if it does beat it, I mean, it's going to be really good. Let's see. Yeah, see that's sad damage. So we're going to take a bit of damage there. But it's fine. I mean, as long as we beat it, we beat it. So there's a shield down. We're going to potentially get a turn. Yeah, we're going to get a turn in where the shield's not up. Oh, that's sad. That wasn't any damage at all. And that shield's going to be even harder to take down. Oh, God. But our tanky units are tanking. That's also a big thing. You really got to make sure you're putting defense percent on your units. Otherwise, you might as well just not even be attempting it. But they beat it. Okay, they beat it. I wonder if it's gonna beat my previous score, isn't it? Ah, god dang. God dang, I don't like it. I mean, it feels like they barely won though. Anyways, just one last time, I'll show you my runes, because I think that's important. There you go. Bella Dion is fully skilled up. If you do use units like Miriam or all that, you got to make sure that they're skilled up. I know that sucks to hear, but when you bring a unit, like if you bring Miriam, it's just like the amount of time she uses this second skill is terrible if you don't have her skilled up, which means you're going to actually lose fights. I noticed that before I had her skilled up, it was very hard to win fights with her. But when I did finally skill her up, obviously she worked better, as one could expect. I mean, when a unit doesn't have the skill ups they need, they're gonna fail. Same thing with Irogar. When you get Irogar, I know I said double him up in the last video. I doubled him because, honest to God, I'm not gonna sit there and fuse vampires. I'm not gonna tell you guys to do something that I wouldn't do. I'm lazy. I will waste Devilmons like no one's business. But if you want to fuse the vampires, that's also a good way to do it. That's probably the more responsible way to do it, because you can use doubles on your nat 5s. But I really ain't about wasting that amount of time. So there are the runes. I hope you guys found this helpful. If so, like the video, I guess. Subscribe. I never asked you guys to subscribe. I'm asking you guys this time to subscribe. And if you hated this video, if you want to run me over with the car, tell me in the comments, please. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I hope you guys had a good day. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.